Good morning, this is Robin Bieber on the Crude Spread Talk on the 11th of May at 8 o'clock in the morning London time. And the chart in front of us is June-July WTI, and it's beginning to look a little toppy, as is the July-August and the two front spreads on Brent, and more of those in a minute. But the June-July, whilst it holds the 5-day, and it's done that ever since the beginning of the recovery really, and the 5-day comes in at minus 151, it's okay. It has no further upside unless it can take out this purpley line here, the 100-day moving average at about minus 112. If it can do that, it has a target to plus 29. Meanwhile, the 5-day is critical support at minus 151. So long as that holds no downside. Were we to take the 151 level out, the odds are a move back to the 8-day at minus 193. No real serious downside unless we're below 193, but that's still quite a big dip. However, the 5-day's key support, the 100-day key resistance. But if we look at a 60-minute chart, whilst it's not saying that the daily chart is wrong, what it's suggesting is it's a bit overcooked up here, so be careful, it could easily start to show some trend fatigue. Now, the July-August is in a slightly different situation. It's struggling to hold the 8-day at minus 184. It's printing 185. If it does not hold the 8-day, the odds are a move lower. Certainly, no, it's a shoe into 199, the first correction point, the 38.2% correction point, but below the 8-day would suggest that as a target immediately, and then potentially lower down to, let's say, minus 224. The stochastic is high and heavy, so this spread is beginning to also show fatigue, and this would only be negated on a move and close over the 5-day at minus 168. It's beginning to wobble, and it may have lower to go. And if we look at the 60-minute chart, not really too indicative of anything on the July Aug here. If this were to slip negative, which is quite possible, it would give us a little bit of some downside potential, immediate downside potential, but this stochastic is not really high enough to be totally significant. Now moving on to the back end structure here, the DEC June WTI is around about the 248 level. It has the 5-day moving average. It's printing within a cent of there. It needs to hold that, or it's sliding down to around 277 the 8-day. If it can hold the 5-day, it maintains an upside potential to the 55-day at minus 212. However, if you look to the left, the 60-minute chart is suggesting some weakness in the early part of today, and I think it's going to have a struggling morning. And the DEC Red DEC, it's slid below the 5-day at minus 402, which is not great. Whilst below 402, it could easily slide to the 8-day at minus 444 and is likely to do so. However, the 60-minute chart is suggesting that it might struggle to go right down to the 8-day. So watch this one carefully. If it flipped back above minus 402, it's not in bad shape. Now moving on to Brent structure. And the first chart is July-August, and it's struggling. Note here the 60-minute chart, high. We'll have a look at that in a minute. But it's below the 5-day at minus a buck. It's below the 50% correction point at minus 111, admittedly only by 1 cent. It's suggesting a dip to minus 124, and then watch out. If that 8-day doesn't hold at 124, we're going lower. It's a key support. There's no upside whilst it's below the 5-day at minus a buck. And if we look at the hourly chart here, it's suggesting toppy and that we're going to slide initially today. I'm expecting weakness through the London morning for this spread. And the All-Sep Brent is also sliding. It's hit its 8-day at minus 108 and held. But if it slides below the 108 level, it's in trouble, and we could easily see a move back to 136 area, the 13-day. The stochastic is just positive but wobbling and is suggesting weakness. Only a move over minus 93 would suggest that this contract is shrugging off these initial early negative indications and sliding. And the hourly chart for the Aug-Sep is negative and suggesting lower numbers into the London morning. Now the DEC June Brent is also below the 5-day at minus 253, but above the 8-day at minus 278. Use these two as the key. It's the moving average management day. Above 253 and it's back in good shape. Below the 8-day at 278 and it's struggling. The 60-minute is suggesting not too much downside here, so watch this one carefully. It's going to ebb and flow between the 5 and 8s, I suspect, this morning. And the DEC Red DEC is in a similar situation. Moving average management day. 5-day moving average at minus 426, no upside whilst below there. 8-day moving average at minus 469, no downside whilst above there. These two have not been tested yet. They're likely to be. The 60-minute chart is suggesting some upside here from this point. So watch the 5-day. It may well get tested later this morning. That's all for today, folks. Good luck, good trading, and bon appetit.